push, wanting to clear the high ground right out.
Poker with a fourth, by the way. This guy's insane.
Almost pulling off the big play, but Vic just too quick for him.
Oh! Poker's got a button on his desk and it's bigger than yours.
That Masai kind of dancing on the edge, trying to keep his teammate alive.
Fantastic start for Philadelphia. I feel like a lot of people are underselling how much talent is on this team.
Florida just find all of the kills in the blink of an eye.
There it is, the Fusion get it done. Welcome to the Overwatch League. We're lucky to have you.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Golden Boy, your host for the Overwatch League's final game of the regular season, joined by Sideshow and Crumbs. And again, Malik said it before, and I'll just say it again. Every single matchup here, it matters because it all plays into the final matches of the year for the, well, finals for the championship, the Overwatch League Championship.
Yeah, these two teams get to see how the guys at the top are reacting to thinking, ooh, maybe we should have not dropped a couple of maps earlier in the season. Let's make sure that we try and give it our best every single time, because you don't want to be looking back at 2 stages from now and thinking, we could have won that one map on stage 1 and we would have made playoffs.
Exactly, and that is something you always got to keep in the back of your mind. But let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule and see what we have in store, what we've already witnessed, which was NYXL. They took on the Spitfire. That was an incredible game, 3-2. And then Houston Outlaws, Boston Uprising, incredible game, 3-2. It's almost as if, you know, Golden Boy shows up and we don't get any for Overwatch anymore.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You still got one game
And
back.
then we have the Florida Mayhem and Philadelphia Fusion. I hate you, Sideshow. You bother me so much. And London Spitfire will be taking on the Houston Outlaws after this game. And we actually moved the time up just for you guys at home because we love you so much. It's going to be 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we have NYXL waiting for the winner of that game. But for now, let's go ahead and introduce your first team as they make their way to the stage. It's the Florida Mayhem. And what God's green earth?
Swoosh with the palm tree.
Where do they get that from? Is that real?
Some hotel is missing.
He's
a-
planting it.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. He cares so much about nature. Dancing, okay. And what's this? This is very elaborate.
It's a banana.
Is that a
Luring
banana?
the monkeys!
What is... what is Logix has no idea what to do. He's gonna eat it? Oh, dear. At least, did he take that from our talent room? Because they saw me very angry.
That's a combination of all the different walkouts they've ever done with a palm tree, a banana, manatee.
They're awesome.
They'll always have their entrances.
They will. They will.
How do you top that, though? You literally have to bring a palm tree out, or of course,
I
6
mean,
palm trees.
we're getting props, right? Last time Seoul Dynasty was giving away candy. We got palm trees and bananas. The sky's the limit here, it seems.
I was hoping that, so someone on the competitive Reddit actually asked me if I can get a horn for whenever we go to Game 5. So I was thinking, like, whenever we go to Game 5, you know, Golden Boy shows up and then he has like a vuvuzela or something like that, right? And I think we need some props on the desk.
I think they're banned everywhere.
Are they?
Yeah.
No.
Most obnoxious sound.
I disagree. It's a beautiful sound, especially when I'm playing the vuvuzela. All right, well, I mean, we got to talk about, you know, get some thoughts across with this team here.
Yeah.
You know, Florida, obviously a fantastic squad, former Misfits now, just looking to kind of put a nom this.
And they actually didn't do that badly against NYXL as well.
Yeah.
They had a good performance there. So as long as you give them a little bit of space, this team does have the quality to make use of it.
Yep, and, you know, we are expecting big things out of the Florida Mayhem, but their opponents are looking to come out with a win. Let's go ahead and welcome to the stage the Philadelphia Fusion. They are at a 5-4 record. Unfortunately for them, losing to Boston, but they were in the playoff hunt as well. Very close. This team, lots of talent.
Yeah, as you say, they only just missed out on that playoff run. They're at the same kind of caliber of some of those other teams, but inconsistencies earlier on in the season, and they haven't quite improved as much as some of the others, perhaps. But Philadelphia Fusion have all the talent they need, and I think they are just improving fundamentals over the course of the season. They started a bit slow, but I have high hopes for this team going forward.
Well, remember that they have less practice than all the other teams here, right? They got everybody together at last minute, but I see this team very similarly as the Boston Uprising. You've got star DPS players, good tanks that enable them, and solid supports, but it's just a matter of getting used to playing with each other. And if we take the Boston Uprising success as any indication of what this style can bring, you know that the Philadelphia Fusion can get to that level as well.
Speaking of, though, Snillo actually becomes available for them in Stage 2. His birthday is going to be March 2nd, so happy early birthday to you, brother. And he's looking to add a lot to this team as well.
Yeah, he is, and they've just got Eco into the lineup. Those are the two DPS players that you could see potentially replacing Carpe or Shadowburn. They're so good as a DPS duo, it seems kind of strange that you would put Snillo and Eco in the same conversation as them, but Philadelphia Fusion scouted these guys out. They know that they have a lot to offer to the team, and it's about integrating these guys throughout the entirety of Stage 2, where we'll see a lot of other people become available, like Super Sinatra, First Shock. All of these guys will be adding new flavors to the teams.
Now, I have been emphasizing this every single game, win or loss. It all matters. The maps all matters because at the end, you want to get to the Overwatch League Championship. So, what should these teams look to be doing here? Because this is not a throwaway game.
No, it definitely isn't. And I think it can feel perhaps a little bit like that because we're so focused on the Stage 1 playoffs. But this is added up. Every single match gets added up. And at the end of the season, that defines whether you're in first place, sixth place, you make the playoffs. If you're outside of that, you're not making the playoffs at the end. And both of these two teams would consider not being in the playoffs a failure, I think, for Season 1. They have the caliber to be able to be in that playoff run. So they need the wins early on to set them off on a decent path.
I think every team actually has the caliber to be in the playoff run when we get there, because having everybody practice against each other in this very tight environment, you have your competitive practice against everybody in there as well on top of scrims, means that you have a very great mixing pot of skill that ends up trickling down to everybody. It becomes much harder to stay at the top and bring innovation than catching up to whoever is around you, because it's just so easy. You see what they do every single time. It's easy to identify, and time is on your side. Time and repetition help those who are struggling the most.
And that'll be a slow process, right? Some teams have started slow, like Florida, but as the season progresses, we expect them to get a bit better.
Yeah, and also they just made a new signing in Zappis, a very well-known player from the Overwatch World Cup, I believe played for Finland there, and Finland, they had a bit of a struggle at the World Cup, but they still were a threat in their group stage. So, they just need to continue to add and continue to gel a bit more. Do you think that Florida is going to experiment in this game, Crumbs, or would you rather see them play a bit more to their strengths?
I don't think they'll have any need to experiment. I think they actually keep all their experimentation inside the walkouts, and all they need to do is continue their play to be what they did against New York Excel, which actually for the first time we get to see Logix really show up, and he was a really good factor there, as typically he tends to struggle performing on stage. So as long as they just keep zeroing in as to what wasn't working before and improving it, they shouldn't need to go for wild cards here. They just have to work on one thing and don't deviate away from it until you see your results work.
Play your game. Plain and simple. But all right, guys, Blizzard Arena, let's make some noise. Let's get hyped, because it's going to be a great game no matter what. Let's send it over to your casters for this match. It's Monte Cristo and Doa.
Thank you, Golden Boy. And I am pumped about this one, man. Florida Mayhem versus Philadelphia Fusion. It is a battle for honor. It is a battle for glory. And also, importantly, it is a battle for long-term implications, right? Because we've seen already today many times how individual maps, individual matches can really make the difference between making it and not making it. And even though these two teams aren't making it to our playoff matches later today, they've still got playoffs at the end of Overwatch League Season 1 way down the road to think about, and they absolutely should be doing that.
Yeah, you can't deny that we've seen a lot of implications for the map differential, even not to mention, of course, the match scores as we wind up Stage 1, and this could be, as you say, important down the line. And we're starting with Numbani here too, and as the desk was talking about, we have seen improved play from the Mayhem. It was definitely their best series of the season against the New York Excelsior. Logix did actually start showing up a little bit more in that game. We saw some better positioning from their Mercy players, and Numbani is a good chance for the Mayhem to win, because so far the Fusion are winless on this map.
That's a big start for Florida if they can get a win going here. Fusion, of course, has been, looking a little bit off their game lately. They took Poco out for a while. They tried to play a little bit more conservatively. Didn't seem like it worked too well for them. They put Poco back in, still playing a little bit more of a conservative style than we're used to from this team, and it still didn't look like it was working. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see how they're going to approach this match. Are we going to see the old-fashioned Insanity Fusion, which I happen to kind of like, or are we going to see them try to continue tooling this sort of more, again, conservative, reserved, more methodical style?
I mean, at the end of the day, they still are a dive team, and they're not actually going to be playing that. Last time we saw them on Numbani, they did play Genji Tracer dive on defense throughout the entire map, so
Sure.
a little bit of a mix-up here with Shadowburn on the Pharah. But as we look at the Fusion, I think one of the things moving forward that's really going to help them, talking to this team, they were excited to finally get their last couple of players into the States, into Los Angeles, because as a 12-player team, they can now internally scrim. They're one of only 2 teams with London that has that advantage. So as we move forward and as the Overwatch League drags on, they're going to have some practice advantages that other teams don't have to refine their play.
Yeah, absolutely. The training potential has increased as Philadelphia Fusion gets ready to defend against Florida Mayhem's first attack. Logics rather, on that Widowmaker. Getting started here. A couple shots coming in as the dive comes in onto the high ground. Florida trying to force Philly back a little bit. They can drop him. Oh, he finds that shot on a Carpe. He was ready. You saw Carpe peeking too, and that's where it gets a little bit dangerous. Logic's ready to go.
Yeah, we are just going to see him continue to peek around these corners. Very patient play, waiting for that Tracer on the high ground, and Florida Mayhem with a very clean opening. And
No
this
kidding.
is the difference, as the desk was alluding to, from the Florida Mayhem that we've
Philly's
seen.
back. Trying to just hold on to this one a little bit longer. Fraggy goes down quickly. Logix falls back to a little bit more safe location. Now grabbing that high ground. Oh, but Neptuno right there to take him out. Battle Mercy in action here. And Florida so close to capping this one, it looks like they might just be able to grind it out.
We saw the Valks up in the air. Carpe's getting low, however, we'll have to use that rewind on the point, and eventually Florida is going to push this one through.
That's right. Philly made a go of it. They bought some time. They shaved a little bit off the time bank, but Florida Mayhem will get the payload moving now. And Vic already the advanced scout coming out on that Genji.
I have to say, I am a bit surprised by the play style we saw from Philadelphia, because as of last week, when we watched the Mayhem play against NYXL, as the desk noted, it was about giving them a lot of time to set up, but their execute once the setup was there was relatively clean. And where Mayhem have struggled have been when the Mayhem is brought to them, when there's a very fast attack that they have to communicate instantly about, that they tend to fall apart, but they were given a lot of time by Philadelphia.
A Transcendence force out of Zupe right off the bat here as Philly comes in for another defense. Logic's fighting the duel with Carpe, who has to recall here. Shadowburn gets him. Oh, but the reflect on the barrage from Tavik takes on the Pharah. Self-destruct from Philly will keep Mayhem at bay for just a moment, but they're back on the payload. And Poco out of that mech one more time. Looks like the payload's going to keep moving.
Self-destruct used for Manitin as a result of him getting pulse-bombed by Carpe. So wants to keep in that suit just to make sure they can push through point B.
Yeah.
Tavik is going to be there with a Dragon Blade right now. Boombox ready to counter that with a Transcendence. And Philadelphia going to be setting up again. Carpe is going to be flanking around the backside.
We'll see what he can do. No pulse bomb, but he could still do some damage here. Tavik trying to fight Philly off the payload again. Gets low. Oh, the heal's coming in just in time. And he backs away. Meanwhile, Poco demeched after that aggressive move, and Tavik uses the opportunity to grab that Dragon Blade. There's a kill onto Carpe. He wants more, but gonna be tough to cut through Transcendence. Still gets Poco, the demech diva in the end anyway. And Philly holding strong here, but Florida still has enough people that they might be able to push this one back. Tavik, yeah, looks like he'll be able to get it.
Yeah, they are just going to push it through. Joe, again, both Valkyries used, but the Florida Mayhem coming out on top. Zebasai has been doing better on the Mercy in recent days, and we're seeing the results of that right now. So payload continues to push forward. Shadowburn's going to be having that Dragon Blade soon, but both of the support ults from the Philadelphia Fusion lost, and Mayhem with a very good time here on Numbani.
Yeah, they've been basically crushing this attack. Carpe now sneaking in from behind. He's got that pulse gem ready. Sufi falls early. There goes Zebasai. Shadowburn with that Dragon Blade. Gets an important kill there, and now it's all about the cleanup. Swoosh falls. And goodbye, Manitin. Getting demeched, and he's going to take a jump. There you go. No bunging involved. Just a taxi back to spawn via the underworld.
Yeah, critical win there for Philadelphia because they were coming up against that Transcendence again, but quick deaths from the Florida Mayhem made it untenable to use that ultimate. So it's like Philadelphia has stabilized here on point C.
Oh, Zupa's got to watch out. Here comes Carpe from behind. Tries to go for the one clip. Needs two clips. That's going to be perfectly fine. Meanwhile, Zupa trying to get to his team to keep them healed. Manitin backing away already, and Philadelphia just has Florida scattered at this point.
And they're chasing them all the way back to the spawn, too. So Shadowburn cuts down Zebasai on the way out, and everybody has to fall all the way back inside the spawn room. They are going to save a little bit of the damage on Manachin just to bring up the ultimate again from Zebasai, but they got strung out right there, and Carpe found a vulnerable support in that back line.
And sure enough, while Fraggy falls really early, maybe an opportunity for Mayhem, although they do lose to Vic. Poco demacked, he's gonna use that self-destruct, and he kills out of that one, doesn't look like it. Poco goes down to Logic's Pulse Bomb. Meanwhile, Shadowburn, low health, and you can tell because Zupa just takes him out with a single orb. Meanwhile, the payload moving.
Yeah, most of that fight happens so far back away from the payload, though, Doa, that there's going to be plenty of time for some resurrects here, some respawns from the side of the Fusion.
That's right. It's all about handling these respawns now as Philadelphia tries to get ready. We saw a little bit of damage boosting on the Boombox. You can find a lot of those shots. Now Swoosh trying to find a vulnerable support. Maybe the Genji. There we go. Turning around. Shadowburn putting a little bit of pressure onto him. And Vic now over on the McCree. Trying to find those shots. So Swoosh goes down. That's a good start. Gets brought back up again. And now Fraggy soon to follow. Both Winston's falling. Oh, the flashbang doesn't connect. And Shadowburn unleashed with that Dragon Blade. But Logic's able to defend from the attack. Neptuno brings him back up, but the Genji ultimate is gone. It's a brawl behind the point right now.
No Deadeye.
And yeah.
No Deadeye denied as Carpe comes in and takes down Tavik.
Sure.
So the scrappy fight is still continuing, but respawns here are going to favor the Fusion.
As they often do on this map, of course. A minute 55 left on the clock here. So Florida, as they get pushed back, have some time to kind of keep setting up some attacks. They've got a couple options, but no ults to speak of for a while.
And Philadelphia, they love playing this forward defense. They are playing past point B right now, right in the spawn doors. And even if the Florida Mayhem gets through, Carpe still ends up in their back line, coming in the rear like we're seeing right now
Carpe
with the
time.
Pulse Bomb.
Here we go.
And he's gonna look for a target here.
Oh, he sticks the wall instead of the supports. No kills out of that one. Trying to make up for it with some damage. Boombox does go down though, but that's his support, man. That's not the one that was supposed to die. Meanwhile, Shadowburn with the Dragon Blade dashing through the team, but not coming up with anything just yet. Boombox gets res. Tavik rezzed on the side of Florida Mayhem. Philly still holding that aggressive defensive stance though, so they've really done a good job of keeping Florida from even getting to the payload at this point.
And we talked about earlier, Doa, the importance of not giving Florida time to set up, because when you do that, they can actually execute quite a few plays. And the Philadelphia Fusion have changed their tactics. They are playing extremely aggressively and disrupting Florida on their way to the objective, and it is working out so much better for them.
Now Logic's finding the duel with Carpe here. Logic's holding the Pulse Bomb this time. Zupin does go down. Here comes a res as Ebisai brings him back into action. Florida Mayhem just trying to break out here and get back to the payload, and they only have about 25 seconds left. Whoa, there's two with Manitin taking a page out of the Poco book with a double kill on the supports from Philly, and now that payload gonna move. Unless Fraggy, no, he has to back away. He was on his own, and he's still alive. Oh, but there's the tag! And Logix gets him before he gets back to spawn.
Yeah, but look how many ults are coming up from the Fusion, Doa. They're going to be coming right out of these doors.
That's right, they're going to need to use this to defend here. Swoosh a little bit on his own, and nobody's on the payload. Oh, Florida, the Mayhem, a little bit too much for the Mayhem, and they will end their attack run just shy of 3 points.
Yeah, Swoosh and Zebasai not on the payload at the end during the Valkyrie. It was unlikely that they were going to be able to push it through to the end anyway, with so few members and so many ultimates on the side of the Fusion, but they do come up just short. Still, they had a good time going into point C, but that's when we saw the switch in the tactics from the Philadelphia Fusion. It was about the spawn camping, and that's where the Mayhem have looked the weakest. When it comes to quick decision making, when it comes to target selection during their shot callings and making those instantaneous decisions as a team, they've been very disrupted.
Yeah. I like that kind of change of pace from Fusion. I mean, that's a good job identifying your opponent, identifying those weaknesses. And Fusion with an opportunity to win the map right here, right now on their attack run.
And they have that chance. It will be Florida Mayhem doing what they've done on Numbani repeatedly, which is Ana, Soldier, and Tracer defense. This should come as no surprise to Philadelphia. They are going to attempt to run Shadowburn on the Pharah again.
As you would probably expect from these guys.
Yeah, it is a standard Numbani attack composition where you poke in and have Carpe finish off some of the kills that you chunk out with the Pharah rockets, but at the same time, you don't have the same high ground presence. You have to rely on the concussive blast to remove the Ana and the Soldier from the far high ground before you can really take them out.
Sure enough. And so, the doors about to open. Philadelphia Fusion with a chance to take a lead here in this 4-map series. Although, by the results earlier today, you'd almost expect it to be a 5-map series no matter what.
Yeah, well,
It's been a long day so far, but it's been a good day of Overwatch, and Philadelphia will see who ends up having the better day here on map 1 anyway, as they get started.
a typical positioning on the far side of the point for the Ana, the Mercy, and the Soldier 76. Carpe's going to try and get into the backside of the point immediately, so they're going to be trying to push them off into Carpe on the low ground.
Right. And they drop. Okay, so now it's time for Carpe to go to work on that low ground.
Actually, he's coming back now.
Boombox down. Logix finds the kill. Speaking to Tracers getting into the back line. Neptuno there with the res. Shadowburn still poking. Trying to find a little bit of damage for Carpe to capitalize on. They're on the point right now, but so far Mayhem not giving up too much ground yet. Gotta get back on there though.
Yeah, they have worked their way over to the point itself. And now it's a re-engage, a retake coming in from the Florida Mayhem, and they're going to start to fall.
Yeah, swoosh as well. Florida in a little bit of trouble here. And maybe it's barrage time. He may not even need that though. In fact, Zebasai with that Mercy ultimate kind of backed off in the room, and it doesn't look like there are any reses left. Not much health for that Mercy at Manitin. Will finish Neptuno off. Both Mercies falling in Shadowburn, just throwing out that barrage.
So to deal with Zuban on the
There we
low
go.
ground. Nano boost onto the Soldier 76 was used in that fight, but Tavik didn't have a tactical visor to ensure a lot of that cleanup. So Philadelphia changed their composition now. They will be going once again for the pure dive, and they are coming into point B with both support ultimates. Zupe will be reset as he goes for the Zenyatta, so no Transcendence for a while. This should be a strong push from the Fusion.
Should be. Shadowburn over on the Genji now. That's why we saw him throw out the barrage kind of in an interesting way at the end of that last fight. He was planning on switching anyway, so over onto his famous Genji now. And it's all about Florida being able to get some picks, use the DPS, use the tanks to push Philadelphia back. There's the Transcendence now for Boombox as Florida comes in. They lose to Vic early though. And Poco still holding strong for the moment. Now he's out of his mech though. Things are in trouble. Swoosh trying to push him back, and the payload stopped for the moment.
I mean, both of the supports dying is exactly what the Florida Mayhem needed. They are going to get D-back, so the fight continues. And Poco is actually still moving the payload.
I was going to say, that payload got a lot of distance for a fight. Oh, the tactical crouching.
You can't get headshot, though. You see those shots coming in from the side right
know.
there. The tactical crouch, definitely necessary.
You never know if there's going to be a Widowmaker that gets swapped too. You got to make sure to make it hard for to get the headshots. The tactical, I'm a big fan of the tactical crouch. That's a great usage right there. Very effective. That's point B for Philly.
It's been a lot of tactical crouching.
There has been. It's a day for tactical crouching. Florida Mayhem push back a little bit into point C. Philadelphia once more on the attack, and they've got a great time here. 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes on the time bank left.
And we saw the same for Florida, though, and they did manage to stave off the attack for nearly the entire round. Poco's coming in with a self-destruct, not going to pick up a kill, but it will hurt Zebasai into Boombox's crosshairs.
Yeah, both Winstons down, though, in the process of the fight, too. And there goes Shadowburn. Boombox finds the D-Mech onto Manitin. Meanwhile, Carpe, there's the finish onto the Mini Diva. And Tavik running towards the payload. Can't quite stop it, though, as Carpe gives him a tiny gun to the throat, but it's enough.
And Neptuno has held onto his Valkyrie this entire time, Doa. Through point B and now into point C. That's how dominant the Fusion have been in starting off some of these picks.
That's right. Oh, they're nearly there. Philly nearly winning this map at this point. Boombox waiting for that Transcendence. Self-destruct coming in as he backs away. Swoosh, re-res. Fraggy caught by the ultimate from Manitin's Diva. And now Shadowburn waiting for it. Here we go. Transcendence in action. Neptuno pops that Valkyrie as well. Is this Shadowburn's moment? No, he's got to wait out the Transcendence from Florida. Staying alive just long enough. As it ends, he's coming in. Oh, perfectly timed onto Zupa, actually, coming out of that Zen ult. That was well done by Shadowburn. And as the fight gets cleaned up here, let's see if they can get rid of Manitin fast enough.
It's only the tanks alive right now for the Mayhem.
Yeah, but they need to stall long enough for everybody else to get there. Can they deny Fusion? I don't know, man. It's getting close, and no, that's it. Philadelphia Fusion will take Nimbani.
It looked a bit shaky with a strong Florida attack at the beginning, but Philadelphia overwhelming the Mayhem in the end, and they set an even better time through point C.
Yep, that is correct. And so, that's going to be one map already for Philadelphia Fusion here in that series. Some fun stuff from both teams.
Especially this. I like the aggregation of all of their walk-ins so far.
It's smart, you know, to have that banana before the match. You got to keep those potassium levels high. So Manitin in good shape here. More action coming up, guys. Here, map 2 incoming. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
What a great map win for the Philadelphia Fusion. They are up 1-0. But, okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've seen a lot of weird things in my days of covering Overwatch, but this one might take the cake. Everybody give it up for Beezy here. He's the analyst for the Philadelphia Fusion, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what's going on here. Can you explain to me, why are you dressed like this?
All right, so the New York Excelsior are 9-1, right? One team's beaten them. And our team beat them, and that week I sent to the guys like a message, like, if you beat New York Excelsior, I'll dress up like Sexy Cat Diva. And yeah, we didn't really think it was gonna happen, and here we are. So.
Is this comfortable to wear?
So what I've learned today is two things. One, skirts and tights are comfortable, but women's clothing in the armpit is like really tight. So that's not great. But you know, I mean, I'm not gonna throw it out after this. Let's just say that.
Thank you for that. And how are you handling all the attention that you're getting? Because everybody's just like staring at you as you walk around here, man.
I'm super uncomfortable with it. Yeah, it's not great.
Hey, man, everybody wants a selfie. In fact, I want a selfie. Like right now, I'm gonna go. Oh, you know what? We got a whole bunch of matches to play right now. I can't even do that. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and kick it back to Monty and Doa, and then I'm gonna get my selfie.
Hey, thanks, Malik. You know, and as someone who has recently dressed up like a female Overwatch character, I feel your pain, man. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
That was a good one, too.
It was fun.
Yeah, BZ, though, has been great. He's actually written a lot of really interesting analytic articles, so you can check him out on Twitter and some of his content. It's really fun to have him, and he will be providing even more, I'm sure, help to the Fusion moving forward.
Not as much cosplay in those, but, you know, in the future, who knows? We can hope, right? Well, Lunar Colony is going to be...
He's found a new passion.
That's right. Hey, you never know when you're going to find something you enjoy, right?
That's right.
Great. Well, we're already doing something we already enjoy as we cast some Overwatch here. We're going into... Great segue, right? You know, it's so good. That's why we're going into Horizon Lunar Colony. It's going to be map number 2 between Florida Mayhem and Philadelphia Fusion. Right now, Philly is 1 game ahead. And while the players get ready, more than anything, what struck you from Florida? What do they need to kind of fix here going to the second map?
I think it's kind of a stylistic mismatch, because going back to what BZ said on the floor, that they were the team that is the loss that the New York Excelsior have experienced.
Very
that
true.
They tend to play well against some of more of these defensive, setup-oriented teams.
Yeah.
And when you have the Florida Mayhem, who definitely excel more in that style, I think that you see that disruption. When we've seen Philadelphia lose, such as their 0-4 versus Boston earlier this week, it's often to other dive teams or teams that can punish Carpe or Shadowburn for being in the back line by themselves, attacking a lot of these supports. But if you aren't moving as a unit across the map, they can really punish your respawns really hard, and I think that's what we're seeing here.
Well, the interesting thing when you look at these two teams is it's kind of a tale of two Winstons in a way as well, where both of these guys are kind of passing each other in the air whenever there's a fight going on, like waving, and then they both kind of tend to die fairly quickly when they land. But the difference is that on the Florida side, suddenly now you have Carpe and Shadowburn in your back lines, making life really hard for Supe and Zebasai. And on the other side, Philly has been doing a pretty good job of handling the aggression that's come in on their supports. You think about what Boombox can do on that Zenyatta. So it is a little bit of a mismatch there, in that I think generally Philly is a little bit better at handling that backline pressure than Florida is so far.
Yeah, and in this meta in particular, you look at the Philadelphia Fusion and you say, this style is punishable, because if Carpe dies back there, and I like Tavik switching over to the McCree at the end, if Carpe dies in that back line, as your Zenyatta is trying to respawn and make it back to your team, if there's a McCree there standing next to him or surprising that Tracer, there is no way that Tracer is getting resurrected by the Mercy on the side of the Fusion.
Yeah,
so
totally.
you can head into the next fight with a man advantage. And I think that that's the most successful we've seen when teams play against the Fusion. But I'm not sure if Florida is the right team to do that or will be able to adapt in time.
That's certainly been a struggle all season long, or all stage long so far for these guys to adapt, but it is a long season. You know, after today, we're still only going to be 25% done with the regular season, so there's many, many more maps and matches to play. There's signings to be had, right? There's trades perhaps someday to be made, so these teams could change, the meta could change, the players could change.
There's Zappases to be started.
Zappases will be started, there you go, yeah. Who knows? I'm really curious to see how things are going to change meta-wise on stage 2. That's an entirely different conversation.
That is a conversation, and that is a conversation where I think the Philadelphia Fusion will be doing even better because of their dive propensity already. I think it should favor them pretty nicely. So as we look here, Florida Mayhem, they were running some interesting attacks last time we saw them this week on Horizon. Triple DPS with Zebasai on the Widowmaker. Not sure they're going to go back to that. I don't think it was executed particularly well.
Yeah, always some room for improvement there. Of course.
They did tie on Horizon with it, but it was a messy game. It was a messy game against New York.
Yeah.
It's not New York's best map either. So
True now.
Looks like Tvik may be going on the attack Sombra here, so a bit of a difference if they do run the Sombra, Moira, Tracer flanking composition.
Yeah, Boombox on the Ana as well on the Philadelphia side.
They are expecting right now an Orisa Junkrat high ground defense, which is what this composition, the Florida Mayhem, are running is good against because you can start to put pressure on the point via a back cap.
Yeah.
It is going to be hard to even get to the point with the 3 other members who can't use their movement abilities with the dive comp because the tanks are just going to get jumped on.
Tvik gets an eye on what Philly is running on defense. Going to be able to relay that to the team. And as Philadelphia jumps down on the rest of his team, he's going to take the 1v1 versus Carpe. Logic's there to punish as well. And yeah, now Florida with 2 members on the point. They may just get a first tick out of this.
I mean, they are.
Whoa, Fusion.
But the Fusion's tank line is not there at all.
No.
And they don't get any kills, though. So actually, they back off far enough that Tvik just goes over for free, and Tvik even gets the second health back. This has not been good for the Fusion. Mayhem played that well, though. They retreated. They knew that their tanks were getting zoned out, and they had a 2v1 on the point versus Carpe.
It was a great organized retreat from Florida.
It was
kind
quite
of
good.
Pull back, and yeah, Fusion chased, and that let Florida get 1 tick on the point already.
And they got them both health packs hacked, too. Yeah. Vega on the right side here, Zebasai's vision.
Now Zebasai over on the Widowmaker. Going for that triple DPS, of course, in Florida. Oh, Boombox down. Zebasai found the pick. And without that Ana, maybe they can do it. Oh, without both supports. Yeah, great opportunity for Florida to storm the point now.
This is looking really good for Florida, Doa, because they're probably not going to have to use ults. As I say that, of course, I cursed it. But Zebasai finishes off Fraggy.
I like how he took aim at Shadowburn, but then realized he was already dead and just falling through the air. It's like, oh, I don't need that shot now. All right, Poco trying to just delay as long as he possibly can, but there's only so much you can do on the Diva, and Florida in position to grab point A here. Yeah, looks like Fusion setting up the point B defense already.
That was played really well by Mayhem. They knew that with that 2v1, they could just retreat with their tank line and continue to pressure that point, force them all back eventually. And now it's even better, Doa. They only had to use the self-destruct. They're coming in with 4 ults, including that critical EMP.
Yeah, a lot of ults here. Tvik waiting for the opportunity. Where's the EMP? Pulse Bomb comes in. Onto Poco's Zebasai, just destroying everybody here. Tvik finally EMPs as Shadowburn comes in, trying to shut down that Genji. They nearly have done it. There's a hack on Shadowburn just to make sure. They see he's got his ult up. Oh, Shadowburn gets the kill. Dragonblade may be incoming on the Philadelphia side. Rez is starting to be used here. Meanwhile, Tvik fighting for his life against Fraggy, gets out with the Translocator and going to back away with his team. So they did get 1 tick on that attack, but they used everything.
They did, Doa, but it started so beautifully for the Mayhem. You can't really fault them for going all in, because the first thing that happened was it was only Poco on the point. Tvik just hacked him straight up. They demech the Diva, they take him out. But the problem is Tvik only hit 1 person. He only hit Shadowburn with that EMP. And even though Shadowburn was nano boosted, they couldn't stop the Valkyrie from Neptuno. Had you hit that Mercy with the EMP, it would have been a very different story. Florida Mayhem is staying with Tvik on the Sombra for now.
All right. Zebasai losing the last Widow to Carpe, but he's done well so far, sticking on that hero. Meanwhile, Poco just forcing Florida back. And, you know, when Poco's in the game, you always have to watch out for those self-destructs. Carpe finds the kill into Logic's, actually. So a nice start for Philly. They are going to just push Florida back and delay things even more. Florida still with 4.5 minutes on the time bank, though.
Yeah, the problem with Mayhem here on B is that their composition is so dependent on the EMP hitting many members of the Fusion. You can see they're ready for it. It's only the tanks on the low ground right now. Everybody else staying close to the cover.
Dragonblade time. Shadowburn cutting away at the opponents. Trying to reflect Zebasai. Oh, he's just going to take the slash instead. Over the wall he comes, and he can't get there in time. Florida will go ahead and just grab 2 points.
They were, I think, a little bit too afraid of the EMP there.
Wow. You still have to kind of touch the point there.
Yeah, especially because Shadowburn's job was to zone out the Widowmaker.
Yeah, no,
and did it successfully. It was actually a really neat play because he took a little back step to avoid that shot before moving forward. It was a good piece of mechanics, but on the point itself, it's just the Florida Mayhem. They started out well again. Their entire attack is based off of hacking Poco first so they can get the quick demech and then force the other members onto the point, the less tanky ones. But Mayhem, they actually did some pretty good execution there.
Well, I'd like to go back and watch the end of that point from a different perspective. You know, we saw what Shadowburn saw in that little duel against Ebisai, but we didn't see a whole lot of what was happening on the point. And it just seems like Florida's been really, really clean and forcing everybody back and zoning well. And I mean, it doesn't get much better zoning-wise than having nobody touch the point.
Yes, but at the same time, Della, that was a pretty colossal mistake from Florida. Certainly you want to be seeing what Shadowburn is doing with that Dragon Blade, and you have no expectation that there's not going to be anybody on the point after Poco is desuited.
Yeah.
So definitely a communication error there from the side of the Fusion.
Oh, look at star mapping. You'd think they'd have those all mapped by now. Huh.
Are they on the, so here's the weird thing, like, they're not on the dark side of the moon.
I don't know. My other question here is, are the gorillas the ones who are being forced to map stars?
I mean, we've already discussed that the scientific ethics surrounding that are an absolute tragedy.
What's the plan here? Are they going to send like legions of hyper-intelligent gorillas out into the stars to colonize them and
why would you do that?
spread the Earth's influence? I don't know.
Why would you do any of this?
That seems like you're setting yourself up for a hyper-intelligent gorilla invasion on Earth later on down the line.
Yeah,
so.
that seems like a bad idea.
I've got some questions.
They come to reclaim their home world.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that one. Philly on the attack here, going for a bit of dive. Of course, Shadowburn on the Genji Carpe on that Tracer. Florida Mayhem with the high ground defense looking for picks.
See those dashes being used across the low ground here, so start moving up that staircase and setting up the dive and the flank around the side.
Oh, Poco pulled in. Not a lot of damage on him. He's going to actually go right back up and just harass Manitin. The back lines here. Manitin getting a bit low. May have to take a breather. Yep, now they're going to go on the low ground. Logix does find the pick onto Shadowburn, though.
Yeah, this is a much more standard defense that we have from the Florida Mayhem. It's going to be Tavic's job to drop back down to the point and make sure Carpe is not able to start building any of that control percent. Poco demeched as he retreats.
Yep. And now Neptuno down. So, Philadelphia Fusion going to need to take a little bit of a break on the attack here. Florida gets some time to reset back up on the high ground with the defense.
Yeah, Logix uses that infrasight right now, trying to chase down any members of the Fusion, but the defense on the high ground has not yet been cracked.
Not yet.
Philly waiting for their teammates. Just taking a look right now around the corner, peeking, see where the defense is, and now it's the time we're going to start to see them try and take out Logix, who's on the opposite side.
Yeah, that's right. Logix backs away, does not want to get dove on. Back to the safety of the tank line. Oh, but Fraggy coming in, gets the kill anyway with a bit of help from his friends. Meanwhile, Philly finding a few more. Rez comes in from Zebasai, brings Tavik. Now on that Junkrat back up again. And Manitin just trying to push everyone back, but already Philly has a few members on the point.
That's going to be it, though. It's only Logix left alive now, and that will end him as Carpe finds him on the side. Philadelphia gets onto the high ground by coming from two directions at once.
Only Logix left alive. I saw that movie, I think, at one point. It was very sad, though. It's very depressing. Philly's got a ton of ultimates as they come onto point B here. Man, the momentum is real. Nearly 6 minutes on the clock as well. Carpe saying, hey, come on down. I promise I won't throw a pulse bomb at him. Maybe I will. Florida trying to push him back here. Swoosh down already. There's a pulse bomb. No kills out of that. In fact, Zupe finds a kill on the Carpe as he comes in.
Yeah, Neptuno died right there, so it's time for the Fusion to go ahead and back out. Looked like they had a strong opportunity without that Valkyrie, even though they had some other ultimates. As long as Zupe had that Transcendence to help deal with Shadowburn's Dragon Blade, they were going to be in a little bit of trouble. So Florida stabilizing right now. Still plenty of time for the Fusion.
How dare you throw your mine in front of Poco? He will disdainfully shoot it.
Can't stand mines.
No. Poco coming up now, trying to push to pick up that high ground. He does. He gets trapped in the process. Oh, problems. Fraggy to the rescue, though. Swoosh goes down, and Poco stays in the mech for now. Meanwhile, Tavik trying to get some kills with that. Oh, there it is. He finds Neptuno with the Riptire. Wow. Meanwhile, again, Shadowburn waiting right. Oh, he waited until the trance was done, but Tavik was right there with the concussion mine. Dragon Blade denied, and Florida storming back on the defense.
I'm not sure if Neptuno heard that Riptire or not, because it had been out for some time before he used the Transcendence.
Yeah.
Neptuno glided to him on the point, but that's not going to save you with the Riptire's burst damage there, so it ended up being a relatively easy pick for Florida.
Yep. True enough. I mean, sometimes in the heat of battle, you can kind of lose track of that one if it doesn't get used right away. Definitely something that happens.
We are seeing the switches now. Carpe on the Widowmaker. He wants to take these duels against Logix. He's peeking out very narrowly. Will dodge some balls there from the Zenyatta. And that is a fast trigger finger.
No kidding. Another shot comes in onto Poco. Logix with the D-Mech before that even. And up on the high ground, feeling bold, feeling like he wants a shot. No, not on the frag. He doesn't want to charge that Mercy ult any more than he needs to. Smart move there to not take that one and back away.
That's what we've been talking about, is one of the biggest differences for the Florida Mayhem recently has been Logix really stepping up. And we're seeing that now. He's back, looking like getting slowly back into the form that we've seen him in online play previously. But it hasn't really ever translated to a LAN environment.
Yep, and getting over the stage jitters, if you will. Meanwhile, Tavik has to drop back to the safety of the low ground here. He's still got that Riptire ready to go. Fraggy batting people around on the point right now. They still haven't taken a tick yet, but 3 minutes remaining. Tavik trying to find a safe place to ult. See if he needs to. Self-destruct comes in from Poco. No kills, just a bit of zoning from that one. Now Tavik, oh, he gets Fraggy. Not bad. Neptuno in with the res right away, and now the duel. Carpe trying to pick up that Junkrat. Oh, not enough health left, and Carpe will get him. The mine not finding the target.
That is a tough duel to take. I don't know if I would have necessarily gone for that, but Carpe is still alive, and he's still clicking heads, Noah.
Absolutely. Well, after Tavik fell, Zebasai was soon to follow. Tavik coming back from spawn, but oh, Shadowburn ready to take out that. He Riptires the Riptire.
He did Riptire the Riptire, just to make sure that this pressure could continue.
Yo, dog, I heard you like Riptires. Riptire your Riptires so you can drive while you drive? I don't know. I haven't watched Pin My Ride in a long time, guys. Sorry. Oh, Shadowburn back with a kill onto Tavik. And Philadelphia still continues to try to attack here, but they are down to 2 minutes. As Manitin getting some heals, taking some shots, trying to charge up Zebasai there on that Valkyrie.
Logix here, still looking to finish out this kill. Does make sure the Transcendence comes out, but that's where the controls percent starting to build for Philly.
Well, now Philly needs to get aggressive, but they lost Boombox, they lost Shadowburn, so sadly for them, that Transcendence not getting a whole lot. Zupa finding a couple heads to throw orbs into. Fraggy down again. There's the stick on the Carpe.
For Carpe.
That's right, a parting shot from Logix. And will he swap back to the Widow, maybe? He was going back to spawn. Yeah, there we go. Switching back to the Widowmaker again after the heat is off.
And Carpe gonna make the change too. The Widowmaker wasn't able to find very much. Fortunately, with Logix back on the Widow right now, they don't have anybody to really get into the back line and affect Logix, which is one of the big problems with your attack. If you see that defense playing the Widowmaker, she can stand in the back corners and do that all day.
Nice D-Mech on the Poco there from Logix. On the run now, but not having to worry about that Diva is pretty nice. Swoosh comes in with the Primal Rage now, takes out Shadowburn. Philly on the point, but they've lost a couple people already, and Florida continues to hold. There's another kill from Swoosh. Neptuno brings the res in for Shadowburn, but Philadelphia on the retreat. Logix getting really bold here, but if he can find a pick, it'd be big. No, has to back away.
Yeah, that was the right time to go on the retreat.
Yep.
Get that pick, go for it, but if not, just go back to the rear of the point where they can't pressure you anymore, where they're not going to be able to close that gap, especially with Fraggy not having that Primal Rage.
Definitely. And now we are down to just 20 seconds left for Philadelphia Fusion to try to tie up this map. Oh, Swoosh takes a Riptire to the face, and Neptuno comes in with the Valkyrie right away. Rez is coming in from both Mercies right now, and now the Transcendence from Boombox, trying to keep his team alive. Another Rez on a Poco. Does he get back into the mech? He does, just in time. Pulse Bomb out, but Carpe not finding anything with that. And now the Transcendence comes in from Zupa as well. Florida just trying to hold Philadelphia Fusion, though, with the early kills, but the respawns are already coming out for Florida. That's one tick, though, for Philly. They got a shot, maybe? No, Logic's finding some picks.
Manitin is going to go down here, so they have to go on the point with their support. Swoosh.
They gotta get there.
They gotta wait. Swoosh is coming back right now, but they're going to have to touch it with the supports first.
Oh, Zebasai diving in right before Winston got there, and he will fall really quick. OT's still going here, but it looks like Billy may have just ground this one out. Great delay, though, coming in from Logic. Whoa, the time, and that gives enough for Manitin to get back again. Tavik does get the kill on Carpe with the Doomfist, and they actually managed to do it. Florida Mayhem holding. What a heroic hold at the end of that one.
Absolutely great stall from the Mayhem. Good swaps at the end, barely to make that one a victory.
Well, that was as close as it comes, but what it means is we have a close series. Florida Mayhem ties this one up, 1-1 game so far. And dare I say, another map 5 incoming? Who knows?
Who knows? But that was Florida's first win on Horizon. And honestly, today, we're seeing probably the best Florida Mayhem play that we've seen all season.
I couldn't agree more, guys. And that aside, when we come back, halftime, don't go anywhere. Ah! Ah!
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone. It's halftime here at the Overwatch League regular season for Stage 1. Our last matchup is going to be Florida Mayhem and the Philadelphia Fusion. All knotted up 1-1 as we go into the half. And I've actually been very impressed with both teams in this game because we're getting some different, try some different attempts, some different looks on all ends.
Yeah, I mean, of course they have to take Florida 5 weeks to show up the way they're doing it right now. Taking the Florida approach, right? Just take your time. That's the Florida life. But they're actually showing up really well. They're being so methodical this time around. They're taking their time. They're setting things up. And as is mentioned on the cast, Philadelphia Fusion recognizes, okay, they like to set themselves up. We're not going to give them a shot to do that, and they started getting spawn camped by the Philadelphia Fusion. But other than that, last time we saw these guys in Numbani, they were blowing ultimates left, right, and center in the most ridiculous ways. It looked like one of the most uncoordinated teams, and they've just flipped it around and are actually giving Philadelphia a run for their money.
Yeah, what I like is that Logix tends to be playing a little more synchronized now with Swoosh and their aggressive plays. Maniton looks like he's turned away from being such a passive diva and is now starting to be part of their attacks as well. And so I think in general it's pretty well synced for the Florida Mayhem. And then on Philadelphia Fusion, they looked a little weak on the defense, but as soon as they went onto offense, they were getting it done every time. They really step up the pace, and that DPS duo does wonders.
Well, I did like the added aggression, though, on the defensive end for Philadelphia, right? They were just, they would jump in, and which was really
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
Really? Why not?
Well, on Horizon, it was very uncoordinated.
Fair.
Literally was going. So on the second point, they have 5 ultimates to 1, and we're thinking, okay, this should be an easy snowball, and they don't do it because the DPS are diving in by themselves and getting picked off immediately. We're just going to take a look at the first point from the Florida Mayhem first before we go into that one. But Florida played this very well around the Sombra and snowballed evenly. But when it came down to Philly's turn to go for it, it just was not there.
Yeah, and what I love about this Sombra strategy is it puts so much pressure on Poco. As soon as they get one hack onto him, he's useless. No defense matrix, no micro missiles. They can take him out of the mech immediately. And it looks like their strategy when they run Tvik over on the Sombra is that they get a hack on Poco, they dive in with Logix and Swoosh, instantly out of the mech, and then they kill Fraggy because he's got no backup as well. So they are systematically taking out the tank duo here for Philadelphia Fusion. As long as they're able to set up the play, they can normally get it done. But once Philadelphia get in their face, I think this is kind of, you can't play slow against the Sombra because she's going to be able to get those hacks. So I think Philadelphia Fusion have deliberately tried to play aggressive, like you were saying. But yeah, you're perhaps right that they do need to tighten it up in some places.
Well,
they look good on them, but
the hacks on the tanks are probably the highest value hacks you can get because you're playing Diva, you lose Matrix, you lose the ability to self-destruct right after.
True.
You can't move, you can't do damage, so you're sitting there, you're sitting duck. Essentially, the same thing goes for Winston. Primal is such a critical ability for you that if you don't have that or bubble or leap, you might as well just be feeding ult charge to your opponents non-stop. So it's a great pick, and he stuck through it after the first push failed. You would think usually when that happens, you see the Sombras just switch off right away, but they're so confident in that pick that they stuck through it and actually snowballed with like 4 minutes left.
And even when Tivik went in with it and he did the EMP, he only caught like really one person. Sure, you may not have hit your targets there, but you know, he makes up for it by continuing to add more damage, continuing to prioritize the health packs, deny that healing. And overall, you just like to see those different attempts from these teams at this stage, because it's clearly showing that these teams are evolving. And to quote Monty, I believe he said that this is the best that we've seen of Florida Mayhem all season long. And honestly, like with the start of stage 2, gotta stop doing that, stage 2, right around the corner for the first season of the Overwatch League, that is exactly what you want to see happen. You gotta level up.
yeah, and it would be great to see them pick up a win here to give them some momentum going forwards. And for Philadelphia Fusion as well, I think they need the win to be able to stay in the running as being kind of one of the best teams in the league. At the moment, they missed out on the Stage 1 playoffs. If they slip this game as well, it's looking a little more kind of 500 for them. They're just hitting right in the middle. But I think in general, Florida's game plan has been really good. You know, on Philadelphia Fusion, they have 2 of the hardest carry DPS players in the entire league. Only Shadowburn and Carpe, as a DPS duo, have both put up more than 30% of their team's kills throughout an entire throughout the league so far. That's crazy performance.
Great signs, by the way. Loving the signs. Some good signage today. All right, well, guys, I mean, that's going to wrap up halftime. Just real quick, Crumbs, thoughts? Who do you think is going to take this one?
I don't know at this point, really. Both teams seem pretty close, but I wouldn't be surprised if Florida walk away winning. They seem to have a stronger and more defined game plan than Philly that's just all-out aggression.
It's Shadowburn. It's Oasis. This guy's going to go to town on fire. I think he's going to get the edge over Tvik, and I think Shadowburn's going to come away with the win.
All right, well, you heard from the analysts. We have Oasis coming up next. Will Shadowburn take the disguise? How will Tvik find a way to respond? It's going to be exciting, so you don't want to miss it, and we'll see you on the other side.
And Boyer has so much ability to be able to just get away from players like Linkser on the Tracer.
Now getting very close, building up the ult, and there it is. Oh, okay, the coalescence coming out here. Jaehong's just giving the Houston Outlaws a good hosing down. Oh, they're clean indeed. But that push from Seoul was nothing but dirty.
Game, record, and stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
The East Coast Throwdown rages on. We are all tied up 1-1. The Florida Mayhem and the Philadelphia Fusion are not disappointing with this match. This is the final regular season half of stage 1. And to call this, we're gonna go ahead and send it over to my boys, Monty and Doa.
Thank you very much, Malik. We are all tied up here from Florida Mayhem versus Philadelphia Fusion. This one, you know, we knew maybe it would be a little bit closer, but Florida's playing better than we've seen them play all season so far.
That said, I do agree with the desk that going to Oasis is going to be pretty darn good for the Philadelphia Fusion. They have been shining on control maps in particular so far, and with Shadowburn on the Pharah, I think this is probably going to be a little bit one-sided. We'll see if Tavik can keep up with him.
Yeah, that's right. You never know, though. Just another opportunity for the Mayhem to rise to the occasion one more time. But yeah, Philly's been tough to stop. I mean, when you think about what Shadowburn and Carpe can do, there's a lot of fear, I think, in the hearts of many teams that face them on control maps.
Absolutely, and particularly this one. And if you consider, too, that the Mayhem are 0-4 so far in Oasis, although they were 0-4 on Horizon previously, before today, and they did play pretty well there.
It's a day to win.
It is a day to win, a day to change the fate of the Florida Mayhem.
That's right. A day for Game 5s, apparently.
Will be City Center going to be the map that will start us off. And we also saw some unusual play the last time the Fusion were on Oasis, which was Carpe on Doomfist. We get to University. And that wasn't just a stall Doomfist like we saw from Tvik there on Horizon. It was an actual Doomfist.
It was legit. It was meant to win the round.
Carpe and Effect, and Hydration, the actual Doomfist players that we have in Overwatch League.
I love it. I hope we see a lot more of it in Stage 2. Who knows what the meta may unlock.
And there you go. That's how they do it in Philly. Carpe and Poco are both top 5 players in hero damage rate on Oasis. So, team that's been showing up, it will be Tracer McCree for them on City Center.
Yeah. You know, we had a lot of questions going into Overwatch League of just how they do it in Philly. There was a lot of mystery around that, but I think we've learned that, you know, they do it pretty well. It's been a, you know,
aggressively. They do it aggressively in Philly.
They do indeed. They didn't make the playoffs, but
I'm pretty sure how Philadelphians would prefer they do it.
All right.
Aggressively.
Well, you got to play to your audience, right? Here we go. Philadelphia Fusion incoming. Florida Mayhem coming from the other side. McCree's on both sides, not a far to be seen here on City Center.
Yeah, actually, mirror compositions.
Yeah.
Going to be the name of the game, and a lot of this is just playing with the broad flank route. So you want the McCree to shut down the flanks here, and also to get high grounds for your Deadeye. Of course, we've seen those trick plays where you use the elevator, the jump pad, to get a high ground Deadeye and pick up some unexpected kills.
Oh, Shadowburn gonna need to carry a little bit after Carpe goes down early. I guess he got res, but oh, now Shadowburn down to Vic, winning the McCree duel. It's high noon here in City Center, and it looks like Florida Mayhem are the new sheriffs in town. I don't know. I gotta use that some way.
That is the proper
there we
use
go.
Of that,
Get nailed it.
They are bringing law and order to the point.
That's right. Take heed, Houston.
Outlaws.
Not to call anyone out specifically.
Outlaws still struggling with that idiom mightily.
A little bit. Well, percentage going for Florida. Good start for them. Here's Philadelphia. Tries to claim the point one more time. Logix with a pulse bomb loaded up, ready to go. Florida backing off, playing a little bit safe, only letting the tanks kind of delay the control percent from building.
A lot of poking right now on the side. Only Manitin is on the point for Florida, and he just has been desuited.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to be rough. Manitin down and out. Logix on the back. He's going to stick Fraggy. Oh, but Fraggy was already down. Didn't even need that pulse bomb. Meanwhile, back on the point they go. Kills coming in. Boombox did get res. And Logix looking for a finishing blow onto Poco here. Can't quite get it yet. Heals coming in from Philadelphia. They're not done with this fight. Meanwhile, Shadowburn manages to demech Manitin with the McCree. Tvik striking back with his own cowboy. Logix does go down. That flashbang didn't really connect here. And Florida Mayhem trying to scramble to hold it, just get a little bit more percent, but Philadelphia nearly has it. Tvik with the kill at the end. Shadowburn coming back in though with the revenge, and Florida just really delaying for as long as they possibly can, and they made it a good one.
And Shadowburn really was the hero to start off of that fight, because with both Valkyries used, killing Logix immediately and getting that advantage bought them time for Fraggy to rejoin the fray, but the fight still hasn't flipped off.
Still haven't flipped it, man. Swoosh comes back, Manitin demech, but the monkey is there. There's the kill finally, but 85% taken by Florida Mayhem. They now have time to build up some more ultimates, get a big solid push ready, and go for the take back.
Yeah, Philadelphia, though, going to be feeling pretty good about this. They came ahead with a significant Valkyrie charge, which they're going to need to hold it all the way to 100%.
True. Taking up that high ground defense for the moment here. Shadowburn, nice headshot onto Swoosh. He's going to get healed up, of course. Manitin with a little bit of pressure here. Tvik coming in now, takes a lot of shots, though. Fusion does back off for the moment. It's high noon. It doesn't look like any kills out of that. Shadowburn responds. He says, I can do better. Tvik caught with a pulse bomb, but there's a shot onto Zupe from Shadowburn. Gets one with the Deadeye. And Philadelphia, whoa, holding this one with little trouble. Fraggy coming in with a big Primal Rage at the end.
It was a cute idea from the Florida Mayhem, though. What they did was they sent Logix and Tvik around, or Logix and Swoosh around the opposite side to try and get up on this high ground and jump, put the bubble down, and make some cover for the Deadeye, but there's a lot of Primal Raging off the map at the end, courtesy of Fraggy.
I mean, you get worried about the cars, but sometimes you forget there's a cliff back there, too.
And throughout all of that, Neptuno holds them out. So, Philly doing what they need to do, making sure their ult economy's in a good place.
Zupa down. Early on, Florida in a little bit of trouble here. Poco tries to exit. He's going to get demeched by the self-destruct from Manitin. Meanwhile, Logic's trying to turn this one around. There's the stick onto Fraggy. He's low, but not taken out just yet. Where's the finish? Florida looking okay so far. High Noon comes in for Shadowburn, looking for some targets with the Deadeye. Meanwhile, Logic's just scrambling to keep the tanks from Philly at bay. Fraggy's so low yet again, but doesn't drop.
Yeah, but the point flips for Florida in that they zoned them out enough that now Philadelphia no longer in control of the point, and they're going to have to push back in.
DPS down on both sides, so now Florida just trying to hold off 99. We're into overtime. Florida on the verge of winning this first round, but Fraggy comes in with a double kill on the supports. Philadelphia not done by a long shot here. And they may just be able to flip it unless Florida can get everyone back there in time. Don't think so. And yeah, Philly up to 90% themselves now.
But what that did, Doa, was it got Florida another fight to try and take this back. That flip turns out to be very consequential.
Swoosh! Oh, he's in there really early and he's gonna drop. No Valkyrie for Zebasai, so he's not coming back, but Tavik trying to equalize with that Dragon Blade, gets Neptuno in the end, gets a couple, and now Philadelphia scrambling here. Tavik dashing towards the help pack, dealing with an angry monkey here, but Fraggy not a lot of help. Oh, what a duel! Tavik so low, and he gets roasted! Meanwhile, back on the point, Shadowburn scrambling to try to keep this one.
There are no supports
Philly.
there, it's just Zupe on the outside.
Poco back in the mech right now, Logix and Swoosh on the point, Zupa back there on the Zenyatta. Florida does have the supports helping out.
Neptuno coming back, he's going to use the Valkyrie immediately.
It's close. Zupa up to that transcendence. He built it during the fight. He's got to keep his tanks healed. Oh, can he get in there? That was a big jump from Swoosh, but he lands on Fraggy. There's a kill for that Winston. And Zupa manages to keep his primal raging Winston in the fight. Meanwhile, Neptuno gets a kill on his Zebasai. Mercy killing Mercy, and that is big.
Yeah, that kill that Neptuno just got.
Oh, Zupa, watch out!
Shut down the
Whoa,
Valkyrie from the Florida Mayhem.
Yep. Florida trying to flip this one back again. They got to do it. Logic still on the point. There's the flip. Can Philly get back in time? Oh, they do! They get back in time. The fight's not done yet, but there goes Fraggy. They're still trying to hold it. I can't believe this is still going.
Shadowburn. Boombox is down. That's it.
There it is.
Wow.
Florida Mayhem. Wow, what a first round that was.
That almost went so badly for Florida when Zebasai died instantaneously to the battle mercy of Neptuno, one of the top fragging mercies we have here in the Overwatch League. But Florida still able to clutch it out by controlling the space and trying to force people back into that traffic.
Now Zebasai, maybe somebody who's looking forward to a little bit less mercy, a little bit more Lucio in the meta, and you know, fights against Neptuno are certainly why, man. I mean, it's been tough for him on this pick. He's done the best he could. He's certainly improved lately on the Mercy, but it's been a struggle, no doubt about it.
Absolutely has, and we are in Gardens now, which means Shadowburn on the Pharah. Tavik will be matching him, and
ooh, there's a shot.
Have some Lucios on the point as well with Zebasai and Neptuno.
Yeah, well, speaking of Lucio, both supports getting a chance to bring out that hero now. Tavik looking for the air-to-air on Neptuno. Meanwhile, Shadowburn coming up. There's a shot. Tavik in a little bit of trouble here. Gets the heals again. Swoosh does go down. So Philadelphia starting out with a kill on the tank of Florida Mayhem. Maybe able to take Fraggy. He does. Tavik finishes off Fraggy. But Philly able to claim the point first.
Yeah, they did zone out Tavik and Zupe across the backside of the point. They're going to try and retake right now, but it's been discoordinated, disjointed.
Yeah. Discoordinated. It's okay. We can invent words. We're casters.
Uncoordinated. There you go.
Manitin demeched. Carpe down. Florida making a go of it here. Poco, meanwhile, a little bit on his own. Has to get away. Has to get to his healers. He can't before he's demeched. Florida with a couple kills, though. Fraggy down. Logix with another one. Shadowburn going against Tavik here. Trying to get it on for those close range rockets, but weren't able to do it. Florida nearly has a point flip, though. Shadowburn gets the sound barrier. But can he get the shots to make it worthwhile? Oh, he just can't connect with Tavik yet, and he has to back away. Carpe down, Fraggy on his own. Leaps in there, he's gonna use the Primal Rage to try to sustain. This is turning into a very long delay for Philadelphia Fusion. They've gained a lot of percentage. Nice air-to-air from Shadowburn. There's the shot he was looking for. The Reds comes in right away, of course. Barrage, a very optimistic barrage from Shadowburn. Not gonna get much out of that one, gets punished. And now Florida coming back in. Swoosh Rez, Manitin on the point. Poco nearly demech, goes up with the self-destruct. Can everyone get to cover? It looks like they can. Poco down before he can get back into the Diva suit. And the brawl continues. Florida get even closer to claiming this one.
I mean, they're still alive there. Carpe's still on that point. Shadowburn's going to drop down. Finally, it pushes. Doa, that fight lasted from 22% to 75% of that point.
I
know. And it actually started with a miscommunication from Diffusion. Boombox reset himself on the edge of that map, thinking that they were going to just give it up, but the rest of the team decided to double down, and it paid off.
Wow. Well, here comes Philly again, trying to reclaim this one. They've got the time to do it. Boombox down early. That Mercy not surviving as long as Philly would have liked. Poco gonna get demeched again. Logic's already doing a lot of work here. Shadowburn got caught by the self-destruct from Manitin too, so Florida holding, and they will get a good amount of control percent built.
Yeah, you're gonna be feeling fine about that though. Go ahead, remove the Primal Rage, remove the self-destruct. These are stall ultimates that will prevent you from taking the point quickly.
Yep.
Gonna be coming back. They're a little bit faster right now on the Valkyrie and the sound barrier to give them that staying power.
Ooh, Tavik, both Faras exchanging fire. Both Faras taking air-to-air hits. There's another one. Shadowburn in a little bit of trouble. It's so close. Tavik hit again. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish off. Sound barrier comes in for Philly. Oh, there we go. Shadowburn gets the kill. Now Philadelphia looking for more on the ground. Manitin in the back, trying to keep his supports alive. Has to turn around. Has to dive in onto Poco for the moment. Going to get demech though. Shadowburn descends into the fray and helps clean up the last couple kills for Philadelphia to flip this one.
And Neptuno just a hair faster on that sound barrier. Zebasai will be returning with his, but they've got to win this next engagement.
Yeah, Florida's got a lot of ults to use, but they need to make this fight count. Philadelphia getting very, very close to 90% here.
I mean, they can stay in poke and try and bait out the sound barrier for just a second.
Yeah. Shadowburn gearing up for that barrage, getting ready.
Zebasai was killed in his animation.
Whoa, that was no sound barrier for Florida Mayhem, but the ult used. Zebasai died before he hit the ground. Philadelphia trying to clean this fight up now. Swoosh, oh, he didn't get stuck, but it was close. A little bit low here, has to jump up to get some heals from the Mercy, does just that. Neptuno down on the Florida, or the Philadelphia side meanwhile. Carpe backing away, everybody worried about Swoosh's Primal Rage, and now Florida has muscled Philadelphia just enough off the point, they will flip it.
Oh man, that was so close. Another time where we're looking at Florida and you're like, wow, that was incredibly close to a disaster because Zebasai was killed during his sound barrier animation. He dies, but he comes back, immediately goes to the soldier. This is a player that has flexed onto that third DPS role, sprints back to the point, and somehow Florida is still in this.
Yeah, they want it. They want it bad, man. Up to 95% right now. Shadowburn takes out the Soldier 76, and Tavik claims another one here. Florida going crazy. There goes Boombox on the Mercy, and Poco on his lonesome down at the bottom of the point here. Goodbye, Poco's mech. Goodbye, Neptuno. Florida wants to close this map out right here, right now. Overtime ticking away. And that's it. Florida will claim Oasis.
And what a surprise, Noah, from the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah.
They come onto Horizon, 0-4, win Horizon. They come onto Oasis, 0-4, and they win Oasis. And now we've got Junkertown left and the possibility of a Florida upset.
Certainly is, man. I mean, Florida, again, we talked about this all map so far, and they are really playing the best series so far of the Overwatch League. You know, it came late, but it's good to see, and it gives you a bit of help for the future here. We'll see what happens on our next map as we come back right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Well, Florida Mayhem up 2-1 right now over Philadelphia Fusion. We're going to Junkertown. Monty, do you think they can do it?
I think they're going to try. Florida Mayhem loves to run Bastion, so they could at least get a snowball going if Zupe can play well on that hero. We haven't seen a lot of Bastion out of the Fusion.
Sure.
More of the Widowmaker Junkrat style going on, but
naturally.
I'm feeling good about the Fusion today, or the Mayhem today, rather.
Okay.
We'll swap that around. Mayhem today. I'm feeling good about them because we've seen them now take maps that they've struggled with before. We've seen them have generally good execution. Numbani was a bit rough, so.
Yes. Well, that was a map that they did lose, but now they really seem to have gotten it together. We're going to Junkertown for map number 4, and after the momentum that the Florida Mayhem have built up on the last 2 maps, on Horizon, on Oasis, maybe, just maybe, we will see Florida Mayhem get another win here in stage 1.
I think what the Florida Mayhem have to adjust when we look at their last game is that when we were on Numbani and they were in the payload portion, they were getting strung out from their spawn, and Carpe was doing a good job of cutting off their supports on respawn and picking up a lot of pick kills. So that's what we need to see stop for the Florida Mayhem. They need to make sure that Carpe's not going to be in their back lines, causing a lot of problems for them. And Fusion, they can duplicate that strategy again. I think they could see some success here.
Well, I think point B is where you're going to want to do that. As we look at Florida Mayhem attacking here, point A, you really can't punish the spawns too much beyond maybe your first attack. But point B, once the payload gets that far, we've seen a lot of defending teams hold on that side if they can just move up, play that aggressive defense like we saw Philadelphia do on Numbani. So that's going to be their best shot, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Philadelphia are going to be doing on defense what a lot of teams have decided is the best strategy right now, which is using one of their supports, using their flex support onto the Roadhog. And the reason why you do this is because if you look at this choke point, you have to cover both sides and the choke at the same time. So typically, you see the Roadhog trying to flank around and get some hooks or control one of the long angles.
Sure enough, Zupa on the Bastion as they get things started, just providing a hail of gunfire to let his team exit the point. Getting ready. The payload is starting to move a little bit.
Yeah, once they see the Bastion, after that initial attempt, they are going to have to back all the way to the second choke point.
Yeah, now to Vic.
And then try and get around behind with the Widowmaker, the Roadhog, and the Junkrat to put the damage down behind the Orisa barrier to deal with Zupe.
Vic trying to find some shots. Ooh, Boombox getting a little bit low there. Manitin got the kill on Neptuno. Great start for Florida already. Mercy and Roadhog out of action. Oh, and there's a kill on the Shadowburn. Zupe defends himself. Fraggy down as well. Philadelphia just kind of falling apart here on point A.
That was actually a catastrophic mistake from the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. Boombox hooked Manitin into them and still managed to die. So Manitin, with the help of Swoosh on the Orisa, grabs 2 kills in an angle that should have been easily held by Philadelphia.
And now Florida rushing ahead to try to take that aggressive attack, but they're going to run right into Philadelphia here in the choke. Philadelphia trying to back away now, and Florida Mayhem looks like they might have the opportunity, to set up this high ground attack. Oh, they're going to pull in Boombox. Nice hook from Manitin. Poco comes up to try to support his support, but it is too late, and he will go down as well. Carpe down. Tavik finds a 1v1 on the Widowmaker, and Florida steamrolling through point B as soon as they get back on the payload anyway.
Well, Manitin has really been the hero right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a bit easy for the Mayhem just because the high ground was so easily conquered by them. They plant their flag up there and plant their Bastion as well. And the hooks are there as Philadelphia Fusion is trying to cross and punish them as the payload is coming in through the main gates. But now, the hard point set up behind that Orisa shield. It's going to be a damage boosted Bastion.
Yep. That's right, a little reflecting coming in onto Vic. Has to hold his shots for the moment. Payload is nearly there. Philadelphia needs to dive in on this one. Oh, but Fraggy pulled in by Manitin again. Great play on this Roadhog. Poco a little bit low as well. Tavik does go down. Shadowburn manages to find that kill in the duel. And now Zupa, he may need to pull out the Bastion ultimate here. It's tank mode time.
They're all
Going
stuck in here.
The kill on Carpe. Boombox gets Manitin, but the rest of them are in a lot of trouble. There's a Transcendence coming in. Doesn't save you from a direct hit, though. But it looks like it's going to be enough. Zupe at the end of that ultimate. Poco taken down. There goes Zupe. So Philadelphia trying to grind this one back in their favor. Swoosh a little bit alone on the point here. And he's got the supercharger, but nobody to really use it with him.
I mean, Logix is still there. Shadowburn with the late Dragon Blade. He's trying to find Tavik right now.
Well, Tavik got that mind reflected right back at him, and then a sword into him too. Shadowburn with a kill there. Manitin, DMAC, now Logix comes in.
Logix has stayed alive through all of this, Doa. He's actually been the only one really from the Florida Mayhem. Finally, he falls back. But that was an impressive display by Logix, actually using the supercharger to help him get a couple of kills and forcing that Dragon Blade out of Shadowburn. So Logix definitely coming to play today.
That's right, trying to set things up for his team, not letting that payload get pushed back too much. Now a fight in the choke here. Tavik backing away. They don't want to run into all that damage coming in from Philly.
Now Philadelphia, they've stabilized. They have the Primal Rage just to hold on to this for a little bit longer. It's a lot of poking right now. Swoosh gonna go into the high ground.
Yep. Logix meanwhile from behind, trying to take a chunk out of Fraggy. He's getting a bit low. Oh, but it's Fraggy who gets the kill on it. Zebasai. Carpe goes down. Florida without their mercy though as they get into this fight. Logix trying to find the kill onto Neptuno, trying to equalize in the mercy department, but he has to back away. Shadowburn with the pressure. There's a shield now from Manitin, but no, from the Ariza instead. No, that was from Swoosh. Yeah, somebody had shields.
Yeah, just
either way, Florida back.
They're back now, and only the Primal Rage used from the fusion. So an opportunity to build up to the Transcendence. They're not cowed, and with Zebasai dying first, it really did take the wind out of the sails of the Florida attack.
All right, throwing it in there. Self-destruct pushes Philly back, but no kills. Meanwhile, Logix going up on a Poco. There's another self-destruct. Ooh, came out Poco. There he is. The D-Mech on the Manitin and kills as well. Zebasai with the reses right away with that Valkyrie. Logix and Tavik falling immediately afterwards, though. So that Mercy ultimate not benefiting Florida really at all.
No, decisive loss thanks to the self-destruct kills. The mech kills were a little bit quiet tonight from Poco,
Yeah,
but
that's the Poco we were missing there. That's the Poco we know and love.
The one that is patient with that mech and setting up a lot of those punishment, self-destruct elimination.
You know, he did it in the way that we've seen him do it a lot, right? He waits for his enemy team to engage, they use their movement cooldowns, and then he puts them in a situation where they can't get away from the D.Va ultimate.
That's right.
Really well done.
And now
Transcendence used by Zupa early. Ooh, the pressure was real from Philadelphia. 1 minute, and now Shadowburn coming in. Waited out that Zen ultimate, but Tavik there. Gonna show who's really the Genji boss. Oh, Zebasai! A clip from Carpe as Zebasai tries her res, and that is going to be no mercy for Florida.
And that was a great attack from the Philadelphia Fusion. You see they're playing close to the spawns again, exactly the same way that they won on our first map of the day on Numbani.
Well, we talked about it. Point B is going to be the place for Philadelphia Fusion to hold, and this is exactly the way we kind of predicted it would go. Philadelphia doing what they know works best against Florida Mayhem, being aggressive on the defense, not letting Florida set up an attack in the first place.
We'll see if Logix can be the hero his team needs. Going to be running into a mess of villain players, and that's going to trigger the Primal Rage.
Yeah, that's right. Philadelphia needs to win a fight off of this one. Now Logix backing away. Self-destruct coming in for Poco again. How does he do it? That is going to be 2. Manitin, 1 with his self-destruct, so kills across the board, but now Neptuno has that Valkyrie, bringing people back up against Zebasai, uses his too. Philadelphia still coming out ahead with the kills, and as Zebasai dies, clearly the better mercy has prevailed here on this point at least, and Philadelphia Fusion will hold the payload on point B.
Manitin can't get there in time. Tried to come around the side, but his movement wasn't up. Couldn't dash over to the payload. So they got almost through point B in the end. So still a holdable position. We do see full holds here on Junkertown. The Mayhem were decisive in that first attack, but even with so much time, however, they really never could collect themselves again and push as a unit back onto the point. Unfortunately, Zupe in particular was left at the very, very back towards the gates on the Zenyatta. Time and time again on that attack. because he was so afraid of walking into the open and getting found out by Carpe or Shadowburn.
Yeah, it's got to be a frustrating round for Florida, having such a strong point A and then just getting stymied on point B so quickly by Philadelphia. But the Fusion have put themselves in a great spot to win this map, not having to push the payload anywhere near as far as you normally have to, just to nearly the end of point B. But you know, despite those 2 losses in the last couple maps, Philly definitely coming into this one with the right game plan, the game plan that worked on Nimbani, and it's working again here.
Well, we're gonna see if
Hello.
the Sombra on defense is going to work on point A. We're back to that. We've seen some teams attempt this. I am not entirely convinced that this is a good strategy.
So that's what you do sometimes. You paint a picture of yourself on a wall and then you dance in front of it. That's not something a crazy person would do at all. I'm not worried about Tracer in the least.
That's right. The graffiti goes down, the dancing goes in front of it.
Warping through time and space has effects over time. It's a little bit crazy.
You deteriorate in the long run, really.
That's right. Manitin only had 80% hook accuracy on attack. That was still pretty good, despite the early stop. But here comes Philly, trying to win this map, trying to send us to our 3rd tiebreaker map of the day. Oh, the hook misses. That would have been a one onto Zupa, too. That would have been a good one. Meanwhile, Tavik finds Fraggy.
Zebasai just 1v1 Carpe.
Yeah.
He ran around the side invisibly while Carpe was scoped and basically one-clipped him.
Yeah.
So the surprise factor at least was effective. The rest of his team was playing far back, so they did not expect a Sombra to be right outside of their spawn.
I think Tavik's been having a pretty great series overall today. Now on that Widowmaker, finding some kills. Philadelphia slowed down early on. Manitin backing away. Poco with a quick swap over onto that Diva. Didn't feel like the Roadhog was working out for him. Fraggy, pulled in by Manitin. That hook accuracy, man.
Zebasai nearly there to the EMP right now, still trying to harass
Boombox.
He's going to get some help. Can't hack Neptuno, has to go back.
Zebasai right there with the Sombra. Shadowburn down as Manitin gets another one. Carpe finally with the return kill onto Tavik. But Philadelphia slowed down nonetheless.
Zebasai there on to Carpe again, being as annoying as possible. EMP is now available for Zebasai to use, so watch as the Fusion are going to try and head onto the payload itself. There it is.
EMP trying to take down Neptuno. There it is. Zebasai gets the kill he was looking for, and Manitin charges in. Fraggy in the back lines has to exit, though, as there have been too many people dropping already. Boombox dodges the hook. And a little bit of styling onto Manitin as he gets the one with the Zenyatta. Meanwhile, Zebasai, though, still looking for another kill onto Fraggy, who entered the fray once more. Has that hacked health pack. He'll back away. Carpe with the kill onto Tavik. And so even with the early kills coming in, even with the EMP, Philadelphia still grinds that one out.
Yeah, they have to back off after Tavik dies. There's not going to be enough damage after that with just the Sombra there. So everybody going to take an opportunity to reset. Zebasai will be coming right back into the mix soon enough.
Yeah, looks like they're not done yet, but there goes Swoosh and the Supercharger. No real benefit out of that one. Whole Hog coming in now. Florida trying to turn this one around. Manitin gets reflected. His own ultimate sent right back at him. Zupa down to the Dragon Blade as Shadowburn tries to push his team through to the end of point A, and it looks like he may be able to do it, though. We'll see if they can clear the rest of Florida off the payload here. It looks like they can, and that is point A. So Florida holds for a decent amount of time, but Philadelphia now has less than 1 point to go to win Junkertown.
And now they're going to make some changes, too. Swoosh wants to be back on the Winston. Manitin will be on the Diva. Tavik also making a change. We'll see how long it takes Zebasai to flip off of this, or whether he's going to stay on it beyond this first EMP.
Yeah. Oh, Carpe sees a trap at least. It's like, I see you. It's like, no, man, that's just a trap. It's not a real person. Oh, Zebasai! Big EMP, Florida coming up huge with that fight. Poco down. Telogix' Pulse Bomb, and that was just a great EMP from Zebasai. They did not see him coming.
Right as they were coming out of the doorway, Doa, Boombox caught in that, his shield's eliminated, and that makes for a pretty easy kill. And you know what? Zebasai is just going to keep on harassing Carpe right here. He has been the bane of Carpe's existence for this map so far.
He really has. He's slowed him down quite a bit. And now Philadelphia trying to get aggressive, and they get Zupa. So an early kill on the Mercy might be what Philadelphia needs to push this one.
These staggers are so bad right now for the Florida Mayhem, especially as he's going to cross this bend.
Zebasai doing whatever he can, making room for his tanks to come in, but Swoosh without his healers can't survive too long. Shadowburn finally finds Zebasai. And Carpe, not much pressure on him now on that high ground.
It's only the DPS left. It's Logix and Tavik. They can't make their way onto the payload. Maniton's gonna have to make a beeline for this.
They gotta stop him right here, right now. Riptire coming in. Maniton trying to push people into a place they can do it. Carpe gets the kill on it. Logix now on the payload. He can't stall long enough. EMP again. Carpe with one kill. Carpe looking for a bit more. There it is on to Tavik. Meanwhile, Maniton gonna get demeched here. Pops out, doesn't get hit. Swoosh in a little bit of trouble here, trying to get onto Neptuno, who flees back to his Widowmaker. And that will be the end of Junkertown. Philadelphia will tie this series up. We are going to Lijiang Tower yet again today.
3 times in a row, Doug. It has been an exciting day of Overwatch, you have to say.
Sure has.
But Philadelphia Fusion playing so aggressively on these escort and hybrid maps, and Mayhem doesn't have any answers as they're basically spawn camp. They did win Oasis. We'll see if they can turn it back around when they hit control again.
Oh, this series has been nuts. I love it, guys. Don't go anywhere. The tiebreaker coming up right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
You know, Monty, I was thinking to myself before we did this match, what haven't we seen enough of today?
Lijiang Tower?
Exactly, tiebreaker matches. Well, we're going to see it again, guys. Florida versus Philadelphia going to Lijiang Tower.
The craziest thing is we can still see it 2 more times
I know, we could. We've still got 2 more matches after this to do. Those are the big playoff matches. I can't wait, man. But for now, it's a battle for honor. It's a battle for glory, like we said at the beginning. And again, to reiterate, both of these teams know that a win or a loss here in this match, despite not making it to the playoffs in stage 1, could make a big difference down the line. So, still a lot to play for. Obviously, these teams have shown that they have certainly come here to win. And on Lijiang Tower, after Oasis goes the way of Florida, you really got to wonder, do they have what it takes maybe to take this one?
Yeah, and we are going to be on Gardens to start out with, but even though we thought, hey, Oasis is pretty darn good for Shadowburn on that Pharah, and so is Gardens as a map, it was a surprising push from Tvik on his own Pharah that put Florida Mayhem over the top on Gardens.
Yeah, you never know. And I gotta say, speaking of Tvik individually today, I feel like this is one of the best matches we've seen from him. He just looks like he's more with it. You know, he's hitting shots that we haven't seen him hit as much over the course of the stage. He looks more confident, and I think he's also getting a better amount of support too from Zupa and Zebasai today. So Tvik certainly coming up big for his team.
Well, I think a lot of it is too that Logix is now re-emerging as a legitimate threat, which takes some of the pressure off of him. And Philadelphia Fusion, another game 5. These guys, even though they have a winning record, they're -5 in map score because they do tend to win very narrowly.
Well, we'll see if they can pull it off again here. Poco trying to cross the bridge. Boombox nearly gets knocked off by the concussion grenade from Tvik. Meanwhile, Zebasai back on the Lucio one more time, trying to keep Swoosh alive, getting very low, has to back away though. And here comes Carpe, looking very threatening. Tvik manages to get the boop on Fraggy in the meantime. So that's one Winston out of the way anyway.
Logix died way in the back lines though, so it's not going to be resurrecting, and Shadowburn going to start to deal the rest of the pain.
Yeah, that's right. Philadelphia coming up with the kills, and Shadowburn trying to do damage, but not able to take the point. And Philadelphia Fusion are going to get the control percent rolling first.
And this is where Philadelphia has shined before. They are a top Lijiang team. This is where they were able to go ahead and take out even the New York Excelsior. So it's a map that, again, very much favors them.
Oh, Zebasai! Oh, he gets back up! He made it! He did it! Oh, he's dead anyway! Oh, wow! Boombox is like, no! You shall not live! Wow, nice long-range rocket from Shadowburn. Tvik backing off there a bit. Zebasai does get res. At least he died on the high ground, I guess. He's got that going for him. Carpe throws in the pulse bomb. No kills there. Philadelphia still looking okay, though, in the ult department. Having the kills as well.
So many Valkyries being used right now, but it's still a clean-up moment as Swoosh and Logix will fall. It's not going to get any value out of that Valkyrie right now if you're the Florida Mayhem. As
the pressure.
Jumped in, and Philadelphia firmly in control of Gardens.
Everybody's shooting at Tvik in the back there. Shadowburn now controlling the choke. Zebasai,
hey,
he's low.
That's a nice start to this fight, though.
Yeah.
That's going to be what triggers the Florida Mayhem into action.
Well, Noah Neptuno now. There's a barrage coming in. Shadowburn trying to make up for it, gonna get Tvik in the air. Meanwhile, Boombox popped that Transcendence on the point to try to delay. Zupa comes in with the res on the Valkyrie. And Carpe trying to capitalize on some of the kills here from Manitin. Looks like he'll do just that. Tvik in the point now, trying to get the DMEC on the Poco. Goes in, uses that barrage. Oh, but taken out by Carpe. In the meantime, Philadelphia Fusion getting a bit scrappy here, but it looks like they're gonna hold for the moment.
And Philly was able to withstand the quick death of their Mercy, thanks to the fact that they had a massive bank of stall ultimates built up.
98-99, we're into OT. Boombox drops to the pulse bomb. Let's see if maybe they can bring it back up. Not quite. Florida Mayhem can't get anyone to the point. They're streaming in. They're dying quickly. Swoosh doesn't get pulse bomb, but he gets roasted. Overtime is expiring, and that is it for round number 1. Philadelphia is going to take it 100-0.
Dominance from Philadelphia to start out Lijiang Tower. Even when there was an opportunity to take advantage of that little crack in their armor by having that Mercy go down first. The stall was there, and they were able to get their supports back over to the point in time.
And so Philadelphia Fusion puts themselves one round away from taking this series and at least coming out of stage one with another win for their record. Florida, though, has shown throughout the day that they've got a chance to bring these maps back. They did win Oasis 2-0, so maybe they can turn this one around too. We'll see. We're going on to Control Center now.
And we are going to see triple tank from the Fusion with Shadowburn once again. You see him on the Zarya rather occasionally. He's pulling it out again. Manatin will be matching him, but it will be 2-2-2. So 2 DPS with Tavik and Logix on the McCree and Junkrat.
Yeah, a little bit of shielding for Fraggy as he goes in swinging. Swoosh a little bit low as well. Carpe in the hallway has to watch out for those flanks. Gonna try to stay safe against Logix, but it will be a little bit tough. Oh, Frankie goes down. Swoosh with the early kill in the favor of Florida. And they're going to back away. Shadowburn down to 20 HP, but manages to barely live. Either way, he needs to back away, and Florida Mayhem muscles their way into the point to get the control percent going.
When you have that Junkrat, you're going to win the Reinhardt barrier war faster if you are the Florida Mayhem. So they take advantage of that with a slow push.
Yeah. Certainly helps out. Now backing off, having to play it a bit defensively. Shadowburn nearly fully charged. That is a lot of damage. Manatin getting roasted, has to back up behind the shield, but here comes Reinhardt swinging away with his own Zarya shield, and Shadowburn down. That's a lot of charge expiring for him. Carpe comes from the side, can't get the kill though. Onto Zebasai. Graviton Surge used, sets up a Deadeye for Logix it looks like, and Florida Mayhem will hold.
Not the best use of the Graviton at the end of that, Doa. To try and combo with the Deadeye when only one person was left standing on the side of the Fusion. So they may have given an opportunity over for Philadelphia to retake the point on the strength of their own Graviton.
Yeah, we'll see if they come back wanting that one a bit later.
Riptire's still here though.
That's Vic trying to disrupt people. Riptire coming in. Coming from behind. And oh, he gets Boombox. All right. Neptuno, we'll see if he uses that res here as Florida Mayhem pushes forward. Swoosh just blocking everyone. Poco D-Mac taken down. Graviton Surge. Do they have what it takes to get the kill zone? No, Zubik comes in with the Transcendence in Florida with another clean team fight win. And they are getting near 80% now.
Philadelphia still has the Valkyrie though. They come back in. Florida doesn't have the ults to hold this unless Manatin can charge the rest of that Graviton.
He's getting close, man. 95%. He should have it for the next fight.
Yeah, a couple more shots and he'll be feeling good about this. They don't have it to clog up the doorway though, so they have to give some ground.
True enough. He can still try clogging it right about now. He's got it. Can they use it? Is he going to throw it in here? 96, 98, 99. I skipped 97, but I'm an art major. It's okay. Graviton Surge comes in. Where are the kills? Can they get him? Earthshatter comes out from Frankie, and it's Manitoon who falls. Oh, Tavik! Tavik back with the Riptire. Rez has come in on both Zaryas here, and Swoosh starting to walk forward, swinging away. Logix on the outside of the fight, trying to finish off Frankie here, but the Transcendence will deny him. Now the Deadeye coming in. Oh, Carpe right there with his own McCree. Zupik can't. Oh, can he survive the duel? No! He falls, Carpe with another one, and Philly flips it.
And Philadelphia played that so well, Doa. So what we saw Poco do, he knew that his defensive matrix was running out, so he throws the self-destruct over the top, and Frankie immediately earth shatters. So even though they get Graviton, there is no possible follow-up unless they want to die to the self-destruct, or they were CC'd by Frankie's earth shatter. That was really well played by Philly.
Yeah, good defensive advance by Philadelphia Fusion. Carpe gotta watch those corners, man. Yeah, Logix comes in, takes a couple shots, has to back off. Vic's turn. Carpe forced back in the point. Ooh, man, he got bounced forward, and there's the double headshot. Carpe sees the fish, and man, he is wrecking him right now.
He absolutely is. You rarely see those double flashbangs, but we've seen so many already on this map. Shadowburn, he's got the Graviton. He has 100 charge right now. Mayhem coming back with a couple of support ults, but they may need them just to make their way to the point.
It's going to be 4 ultimates for Philadelphia Fusion, or I mean 6 ultimates for Philadelphia Fusion. I'm not good at counting today. Either way, they are looking strong on the defense here. Florida Mayhem has to use these tools pretty well if they're going to take it. Riptire coming in. There's a Graviton Surge for both teams. Ooh, double kill for Tavik on the Riptire. Self-destruct comes in for Poco. No kills on that one. Res is for both Mercies. Getting used here. Swoosh a little bit low. Lands an Earth Shatter though before He drops. Meanwhile, Poco out of commission. Florida rolling back onto this one. Swoosh is like, I'm getting shot from somewhere. Oh, Logic's can see where, though. It doesn't matter. Florida Mayhem flips the point. Overtime ticking away. There's a res onto Logic's. Reinhardt's running into each other, but Swoosh with the kill. And that might be enough to keep him in it. Boombox trying to sustain with that Transcendence. Here comes Poco. Trying to stay up on this Diva. Gonna get D-Mech instantly with the Deadeye. Or with
Just about to
Manatee,
stagger
rather.
now. Boombox gonna walk on there. Shadowburn has that barrier, but he's not gonna last long.
No, I don't think so. And that is it. Florida Mayhem will go ahead and claim a point here. Of course, we would go to the third point on Lijiang Tower again today. These matches have been so close.
Absolutely. It's a little bit of difference separating the teams that we've had on our final day of stage one. And at the end of that fight, the Graviton just so much bigger in combination with the Riptire.
Yeah.
Because Philadelphia had to basically use their Valkyrie just to undo the Graviton Riptire combination. And then in the 6v6, the res advantage was firmly in the hands of the Florida Mayhem.
You got to hand it to Florida with the coordination on that one. But I think you could argue that Control Center is going to be their best round on Lijiang Tower, too. Now that we move back to Night Market, now that the Pharah can come into it, now that the Genji can come back, can do it a little bit. You know, will Philly have the edge? Shadowburn on that Genji as Florida goes for a bit more of a pick comp.
Yeah, but look at this. It's an anti-dive composition. They're expecting the dive coming in from the Philadelphia Fusion, and Manatee has been magnificent today on the Roadhog. He's going to start with a nice hook onto Poco. Discord Orb will get the D-Mech instantly.
Fraggy, though, getting a lot of Shadowburn comes in with a dash through both supports. That certainly helps out Philadelphia. So despite losing Poco's mech early, they will claim the point for themselves.
And that was Carpe and Shadowburn wrapping around to the backside of the Orisa shield, and one dash eliminates both supports. Shadowburn already with a huge amount of ult charge at 60% already.
Well, it's like we were talking about. One of the scary things for Florida Mayhem is that their back line isn't quite as adept, I guess you could say, at fending off the attacks from the dive. And Philadelphia has been doing a bit better on that. Logic's now says, I beg to differ with the kill on the Carpe. Shadowburn down as well. So Florida getting a couple kills on the DPS as they come onto the point here. Fraggy down, not a lot of support there. Boombox on the outside looking in. And he may not live too much longer. Got the heals from Neptuno. Poco down, Manatee with the kill there. They're gonna zone out Neptuno and grab that one. Manatee coming up huge for his team, finishing off a lot of those. And now Florida Mayhem with some percent going.
I like how aggressively the Mayhem switched their composition. They knew they couldn't slowly approach this point anymore, especially with the Fusion running interference outside of that main gate with the Orisa and the Roadhog. So they change it up, try and go for something a bit more aggressive while still maintaining that McCree to deal with the flankers.
Pulse Bomb not finding it for Tvic. He got a little bit of damage done, but couldn't get the finishing blow onto Fraggy. Meanwhile, Carpe taken down by guess who? Manatee. He has been a bloodthirsty diva this round so far.
Florida about to surpass the percent of the Fusion as well.
Yeah, they may do that. Fusion
coming in with the Transcendence.
Yep, trying to use that Zenyatta ultimate to bull rush their way onto the point here. Poco's gonna get them back right away. There's Logic's going down, but Florida responding. Manatee waiting for his chance, waiting for a moment to use that self-destruct. That moment is now trying to stay alive on his mech. He will do it. Doesn't get any kills, but he does push Philly back, give Florida a chance to reset just a bit. Final Rage comes in though now.
Has his Transcendence throughout all of this, though. He's been saving it, and at the very end, he will pull it out to become victorious in this fight. That's only after Zebasai died. What great patience.
We are seeing a level of methodical play from Florida, that patience that you just mentioned, in a way that we have not yet seen in Overwatch League. This is really like next level Florida Mayhem right now.
Yeah, it is. Shadowburn, though, we've seen how he can absolutely end games, how he can get those team kills with the Dragon Blade. And it's his time to make the clutch play that's going to win Philadelphia this match.
Yeah, gotta come up as the hero. Here comes a Dragon Blade looking for kills. Can he get it? No, nothing! Logic's low, but stays alive, and Shadowburn, so clutch so many times, can't pull it out, not yet anyway. Oh, they do put the point, though. They got back in there
They
somehow.
got back in there on the back's time.
Florida.
So the Shadowburn was only a distraction. Florida may end up wishing they had that back.
Oh, Florida got zoned off the point long enough. Sneaky Fusion taking it. Florida, though, trying to win this fight. Shadowburn with a couple kills, though, to try to make that not happen. And it looks like they'll hold. Man, that is huge. Florida, how could you let the point go at that moment?
That was potentially a match-losing mistake for them.
Absolutely.
They were going to be able to fight that in overtime instead. With Shadowburn off the table, Zebasai going to be coming back with the Valkyrie. Will be slightly faster than Neptuno's.
Yep.
One shot here for Florida to retake this. It's all going to come down to one final engagement.
That's right. Oko on the point. Here comes the engage from Florida. There's the self-destruct. Poco throws his back the other way. Gets Manitin. Diva taken out by Diva. Poco has to get back on the point. Now get back to the heels. He's all over Logix. Frankie gets a finishing blow. Now Poco trying to zone the rest of the members of Florida. Logix, Rez in a very dangerous spot, but the Transcendence is there from Zupe to keep him alive for the moment. Deadeye available for Logix. Can he use it? Ooh, Poco trying to get a boop here. Not quite able to push anyone off. Now Boombox over to that 76, trying to get back to the point. It is 99% for Fusion right now. Shadowburn down though. Logix down now. Boombox on his own, a little bit on the point, but he gets the kill on his Zebasai. That could be big. Swoosh low, Fraggy chases. Can he get it? He sure can. And now Carpe back in action.
And it's Zupe coming back on his Hone 76 now, Doa.
Yep.
He's the last one left with Manitin being debacked.
You gotta rush. Manitin gonna go down. Carpe finds that one. Meanwhile, Zupe trying to stay alive on his biotic field. It's not enough. Another kill onto Logix. And Philadelphia trying to close this one out with Shadowburn's Dragon Blade, and they will do it. Philadelphia Fusion down to the wire, but they'll get the win.
And once again, on Lijiang, it's a Philadelphia Fusion victory. How many times are we going to see these nail-biting wins from Philadelphia?
No kidding, man. Philadelphia Fusion, yet another win, but yet another close call here. Florida, you gotta say though, having the best series they have had all of stage one. No doubt about that.
I definitely agree with you on that, Doa. Finally, this week, in spite of some tough losses, it has been a much better performance from the Mayhem overall.
That's right. So, as we wrap that one up, let's send it over to the desk and see what they've got to say about yet another 5-map series.
Oh yeah, it's been a long day of Overwatch, but I ain't complaining. Welcome back everyone to the desk. Golden Boy here alongside with Sideshow and Crumbs as we look to break this one down. Overall, you know, it's just great to see these teams continue to level up week after week. And for Florida, some tweaks maybe going into, well, definitely going into the break. But still, they have to be really happy with their performance.
They have to be, and I got to commend the approach that Philly has shown, that they just decided that they're going to have more games than anybody else in order to have more practice time on stage. They've actually played half of their games go to best of 5 on Lijiang, so they definitely understand this map better than anyone else.
Yeah, but when they went over to Oasis, this was a map that I thought would be in favor of Philadelphia Fusion. You know, you've got Shadowburn there. He came out on the McCree to start off with and then moved over to the Pharah on the next stage. But really, this was the story, I think, of Twix stepping up to the plate, being able to compete with Shadowburn's performances and take control of particularly Gardens, which was a big swing in the momentum.
He really did, but I think that the Philadelphia Fusion were plagued by an inability to reset in a lot of these early maps. They were just continuously taking fights that would never cease to last with no light at the end of the tunnel, that they just keep going in and in without actually pulling back and then going for an actual 6-on-6 fight with a higher chance of success, and that's why the map ended up swinging in Florida Mayhem's favor.
And you know what? It makes a lot of sense for a lot of players. The difficult thing is to recognize when the fight is lost, when can we disengage. Sometimes, you know, you're like, no, I got this, I got this. But the truth is, you don't got it.
Yeah. So
it's time for you to get out of Dodge and don't lose any more heroes for those mistakes. But still, though, that came down 2-0 Florida, coming out with the win on that one. Then we took a trip to Australia for Junkertown. And once again, this was a big opportunity for Florida to close this game out here, but their opening attack not as strong. Philly really put the brakes on that one.
Yes, and Philadelphia Fusion do like to play this more dive style. You can see the composition in the top right-hand side of your screen. And as soon as it got to stage 2, where you can start to play a little bit more dive, Florida Mayhem found it difficult to really break through. They had a couple of good opportunities, but again, there was clutches coming out. Poco actually stepped right back up in terms of his Diva Bomb performance, which I don't think we'd seen too much of in their last couple of games. It was more an early season thing, but he had some great Diva Bombs at the latter stages of this match that kept them back in it and were able to propel them to a win on Junkertown night.
It ain't a day in Overwatch League if Poco's not getting, you know, at least a 2K or a 3K with his Diva Bomb, you know, because it's kind of ridiculous.
A 2K and a D-Mech, that's the classic, isn't it?
There you go. That's all you want. Yeah, and also, though, shout out to Carpe on that one, who on Widowmaker was starting to really get that groove going and was, you know, near unstoppable at certain points there. But then that came out to a win for Philadelphia as we take a trip to Lijiang Tower. And honestly, it couldn't have been any better than this. Just going all the way, the distance. This is what I live for as a desk coach, just being able to see games like this.
Well, the fact that we get to see Zarius just supercharged the whole time in these maps is what's really exciting, because you don't get to see the Zarya ultimate so often, and she's really only just played in this meta, so...
Next patch, maybe.
Yeah,
next patch.
Hopefully in next patch, because it's a really nice ultimate to look at, but most of all, it's a great ultimate to coordinate with your team to get those big team fights that are decisive, rather.
And all 3 of these stages were very different. I feel like Shadowburn dominated the first stage on Gardens. They went through to play a more tank-style focus, and surprisingly there, it was actually Manitin and Swoosh that came out the better end of the Reinhardt-Zarya battle, which is uncommon, I think. When you look at Swoosh, you don't think natural Reinhardt. The guy plays almost entirely Winston throughout his career, whereas Fraggy is one of the OGs. He has been playing it since the beginning. But I think, in general, the composition that Florida Mayhem came out with Feek on the Junkrat, plays better than the triple tank that Philadelphia Fusion were going for, which I think gave them the win in the second.
And Philly gets that victory, and they are able to bring their record to 6-4. So not bad going into stage 2. Remember, this team was contending for the playoffs. It was a scenario where Philadelphia could have been there, Crumbs.
They weren't even here for the preseason, so I think this is a victory for them, right? It's a final regular games of stage 1, and a 6-4 record is respectable. You took games off the New York Excel, and they could even win, and that's enough to get you pumped up for what you achieved.
Well, you know what I'm pumped up for?
What are you pumped up?
The player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Look at that there. It doesn't matter the company. I do it anyway. And it's going to be Carpe. And honestly, it's so deserved because, like I said, he showed up on Widow when he needed to, putting down the kills on Tracer. This guy was all over the place, monster status.
Yes, Carpe is a fantastic player, and he can play everything over on that hit scan role. The guy can even play Genji to a really high degree. That's what he used to play when he played in Korean teams. But with Shadowburn on the team, you give the Genji over, and Carpe instead gets to be the hit scan god, which we see so often coming out from Fusion.
My highlight was watching his McCree play on Lijiang. I mean, he hit a 2K grenade into double headshot and then gets a triple. He's just insane. He pulls out these kills just out of a hat, and this is why we always respect the Philadelphia Fusion, because you have players that can come up huge.
It's going to be awesome to see Philly Fusion as well as the Florida Mayhem going into stage 2. And Crumbs, we're going to see you in stage 2, but before we get to that, you actually have something else that's pretty amazeballs that you're going to be doing.
That's right. I'm going to the Fiesta Bowl Overwatch National Collegiate Championship, which is the collegiate league. Yeah, there's some hype in the crowd, right? This is where the Overwatch League really gets to be homegrown right there in your colleges. It starts on February 17th, 2 p.m. Pacific on Twitch, and I love collegiate esports, to be honest, because they're looser. You got a lot more just less rules almost. You get
rules?
The games are all over the place, so you get to just...
Savage Crumbs gets to shine here? Is that what you're telling us?
It's an ASU, so yes.
Okay, being held back. So now you're gonna unleash the beast. I'm excited. I will be checking that out once again. So that's gonna be coming up very soon. But we are not done yet. Although this day has gone on for what feels like an eternity, it's one of those good kinds where you're just constantly being given good stuff. It's like as if I was on an island and being fed pizza nonstop. You know, that's kind of how it feels. National Pizza Day was yesterday, so I felt it was only appropriate to go.
Is that what you were doing?
That's typically what I do. I go to the green room and I just eat pizza the entire time. So speaking of the day, let's take a look at the playoff schedule, because coming up next, we're going to have the London Spitfire take on the Houston Outlaws. And then the winner of that game will face off against the NYXL. I have had a blast here. I just want everyone to know it's my first week in the Overwatch League, and I absolutely loved it. The community in the Blizzard Arena, amazing. The community online, amazing. This is awesome. You'll be seeing more of me in Stage 2, but it has been a blast. I'm done for today. The legendary Chris Puckett's going to be taking the desk. We have some great matches coming up. It's playoff time, baby, and I couldn't be more excited. We'll catch you on the other side.